Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Horizon Seeker. In this spacecraft, we will adventure throughout the universe and talk about its planets, stars, moons, comets, galaxies, and so on. To do so, this ship defies the laws of physics by going beyond the speed of light, as well as time traveling into the past and future. My name is Stradivari, and in this journey we will travel to the moon and talk about some curiosities that circle it. Like, for example, what is the moon? What does it do to Earth? How did it form? Is the moon moving away from Earth? Is there water on the moon? Also, we will see the moon's mareas and craters really close. So come on board and stay with me until the end. Okay, so let's fly up and take the cockpit. We can see the moon right there behind Earth. So, as our ship travels to the moon, let's take some time to talk about it. The moon is Earth's only natural satellite and the fifth largest moon in the solar system. Its diameter is 3,475 kilometers. That's about the distance from New York to Las Vegas. The moon's distance from Earth is not always the same because of its almost circular orbit around Earth, but the average distance is 385,000 kilometers away. That's today, but it was not always like that, as we will see further on. The moon has almost no atmosphere, and has about only 1/6 of Earth's gravity. Like Earth, the moon does not shine with its own light. It simply reflects light coming from the sun. Let's have a look. This side of the moon facing the sun has light. And now let's take a look on the other side. See, that's dark, which means it's not getting sunlight. The moon is covered by craters, as well as dust and debris from comets, asteroids, and meteoroid impacts. Its dark areas, called marea, which is Latin for seas, are not actually seas. Instead, they are the result of Moon's early years of life, when large asteroids hit its thin crust. As Moon had not yet cooled its inside, lava came out from the cracks. Because of the high iron content of the basalt left by the cooled lava, it reflects less light than the other parts of the moon, so it appears darker. And there is also another theory for the mareas that we will talk about later on in this trip. Well, sorry, I'm still getting the hang of this ship. The moon's presence helps stabilize our planet's oscillation, which helps stabilize our climate, and also has influence on tides and all life on Earth. Without the moon, there would be some disastrous consequences that would have an irreversible effect upon life on Earth, especially changing our climate, the seasons. But life would still go on, though a lot harder. Now you must be asking, how did the moon form? Did it come from some distant part of the universe and was captured by Earth's gravity? Did it form together with Earth independently from the condensation of the nebula that formed the solar system? Or was it part of Earth and somehow a piece of it was thrown to space and formed the moon? Well, these theories have been proposed until 1984, when a conference devoted to lunar origin prompted a critical comparison of the existing theories. In this conference, a theory that scientists proposed in the mid-1970s emerged with nearly consensus support by scientists. It is called the giant impactor theory. Let me explain it with our internal ship simulator. When the solar system was created, there was another planet called Theia, orbiting the Sun at the same distance from it as Earth. They stayed in peace for about 30 million years. That's because there are some points in space that the gravity of Earth and the Sun cancel each other. Theia was exactly in one of these points, so it was not drawn to Earth or to the Sun. But as Earth, Theia continued growing with the impacts of asteroids. One nice day, it became half the size of Earth, about the size of Mars. That was enough to make Theia escape that point and be drawn to Earth. During one nice sunny day, 4.5 billion years ago, when both planets were mostly made of rocks and lava, Theia hit the side of Earth. The energy involved was 100 million times larger than the event we believed wiped out the dinosaurs. Theia, as the smaller planet, lost part of its core to Earth, that sucked it into its own. The rest of the planet turned into pieces, and together with pieces of Earth, started to orbit our planet. Those pieces then got attracted and got together, forming our moon. But we don't stop there. There is another theory that supports that the destruction of Theia formed two different moons. With time, these two moons collided with each other and formed our moon. For this theory, that's why it has a flarer hemisphere with darker colors, the Marias we have checked earlier. This theory supports that this is the remains of one moon, these Marias, and this is the part of the other one, wider with more craters. Now, another intriguing question. Is the moon moving away from Earth? When the moon was formed, about 4.5 billion years ago, it was only 22,000 kilometers away from Earth. Today, that distance is more than 17 times. It's 384,000 kilometers away. Despite of that distance, the moon is still close to Earth, so that the gravity of both have influence on each other. Earth rotates around itself faster than the moon rotates our planet, so the moon rotates faster. That increase on the speed of the moon makes it move away. One day these speeds will equalize and the moon will stay in a stabilized orbit. But unfortunately, we won't be here to see that, because it will take about 7 billion years, and probably our sun will become a giant red one, burning all life on Earth. But that's a subject to another trip. Subscribe to the channel to know when we're gonna check that up. When we look to the moon, we always see the same side of it. This is how Northern Hemisphere sees the moon. And this is how the Southern Hemisphere sees it. That happens because the tidal forces have, over time, locked the moon's rotation. Basically, the tidal force is a force that stretches a body, like the moon, towards and away from another body, like Earth, due to their gravitational field. That's what causes the tides on oceans. Imagine a ball being pulled to the right and the left. That's basically what happens. Because of the tidal forces, the moon rotates on its own axis at the same rate that it orbits around Earth. That means we always see the same side of the moon from our position on Earth. Some people call the other side of the moon as the dark side of the moon. But the side we don't see gets just as much light from the sun as the side we see. So a more accurate name for that part of the moon is the far side. On a full moon, the side facing Earth takes all the sunlight. Something like now. Now let's jump to a day when the phase of the moon is between the new moon and the first quarter to see the moon almost between the sun and Earth. Look, there is Earth. The face of the moon that we can't see from Earth is getting almost all the sunlight. Different from the face we see from Earth, this part has a lot of craters made by asteroids. As the moon has almost no atmosphere to burn out asteroids, it is carved by them. Now let's get back to a day of an almost full moon. Let's fly to the face we see from Earth. Let's go to another intriguing question. Is there water on the moon? In October of 2020, NASA's airborne infrared telescope called Theia, installed on an airplane, discovered molecules of water on the Clavius crater on the south pole of the moon, about 12-ounce bottle of water trapped in a cubic meter of soil. That's about 100 times drier than the Sahara. But still, there is water. Also, scientists theorize that there may be water on some craters and pockets that are permanently shadowed. Now, more studies and analysis are necessary to determine the amount of water and if we can harvest it for future colonization. This is it, the Clavius crater, that looks like a big head baby with a pacifier. So, my friends, would you like to know about all the missions that mankind made to the moon? How many people stepped foot in there? What are the models of the ships we sent there? And would you like to see the landing places? So, if you enjoyed this trip and also want more of it, Subscribe to this channel and activate the bell so YouTube will tell you when our next trip is ready to go. And if you can, like this video to help me make a lot more trips like this. Thank you and see you next time.